Welcome back to the Purposeful You Summit. I am your host, Julie DeLucca-Collins, and I am so happy that you're joining us again. If you've missed any of the other panels, I encourage you to go back and check out the amazing panelists and speakers that have come together. These friends of mine and speakers have poured into my heart. I hope that you have been tuning in and that your heart is overflowing with the lessons, the inspiration, and the joy that these speakers have brought us. I want you to connect with them. I want you to give them some social currency and love because they have given of themselves. You know why? Because they have found their purpose. They are living in their purpose and they want others to do the same. These speakers are here to create an impact in the world, and I am here for it. Thank you again for tuning in. This summit is brought to you by the Casa Confidence Productions, and I would love for you to subscribe. I would love for you to also comment in here and let us know what you're loving about the summit. All of the information for the speakers will also be in the chat. Make sure that you join us for all of this incredible content. Subscribe to the channel. But without further ado, I want to bring you panel number 7, Unlocking Your Purpose and Helping Others. Join me as they share their personal journeys, discovering purpose, and most of us have been looking for a long time. Many of us thought we knew it, and then we diverted, and resiliency plays a big part in finding your purpose. Make sure that joy is also part of this journey for you. Emily Rogers, Ed Rossman, Tatiana Cole, Kay Alday, Chandra Gore, and Vanessa Salazar play a big part in helping you unlock your purpose and helping others. You will have insights from these speakers, practical tips, and most important, actionable steps, because we consume info, but the best info is the one that we actually put into practice. So put on your listening ears, my friends. I can't wait. Let's watch this together, and I'll be back at the end of the speakers.
Well, hello and welcome. This is panel 7, Unlocking Your Purpose and Helping Others. I'm going to bring you this workshop, which is about moving beyond motherhood, reconnecting with your aspirations so that you can lead the second act of your life. So thank you so much for joining me. I know that you are busy juggling a lot of things at the moment and your time is precious. So I want you to think of this workshop as a start of your journey. So many women and mothers struggle to move beyond motherhood. What can I do? Who would want me? What does it look like? What do I want? So today I'm going to show you a few simple strategies that will not only work for me, but for my clients too. To start off, I'm going to give you a really quick exercise that you can do after this workshop that will help you get really excited about your second act and moving forward. So take notes on this little workshop and make sure you give it a go. It's only going to take 20 minutes and I promise it'll get you results. So I want you to start. It's a 20-minute post-it party. And I want you to start by thinking about, what do you really want in your life? Then I want you to grab a stack of Post-it notes and a Sharpie. Come on, we all love stationery. I want you to set a timer for 10 minutes maximum. And then I want you to set the scene. Put some fun music on. I want you to turn your phone on to silent, no distractions, and really set the scene. So with that question in your mind, what do you really want in your life? Hit start on the timer, play that music, and go for it. I want you to post every idea, hidden thought, anticipated excitement, what's coming up for you. Now, no judgment. Don't second guess anything that pops into your mind. Put it down and put it up on the wall. If you start judging this brainstorming period, then you're going to limit what comes out for you in the long run. This is all about you and what you want. When that 10 minutes is up, I want you to reset the timer, hit play on that music again, and I want you to then look at what's come up for you and start to group it into themes. What's really exciting you? How can you focus on this when you may feel a little bit overwhelmed? These ideas are what's going to carry you through the really tough days. So 20 minutes at the end of this workshop, and you will have a start of an idea of where you want to go. So a little bit about me, just to introduce myself. We haven't met before. My name is Emily Rogers, and this is my family, Scott, Miss J, and Madam S. And this was a couple of years ago when we were about to leave Taipei and move to Auckland, New Zealand. And we went up to Pinshi in the mountains, and we did a tradition in Taiwanese culture where you write your wishes or your dreams or your messages to loved ones on a lantern, and you go out onto the railway line, dodging the trains because it's still a functional railway line, and you let it go. And the idea is that it goes to the gods and that your wishes and your dreams and your hopes for others will be granted. And you can see we were leaving our cat, Ebony, in Taipei. So the girls were wishing Ebony all the best for her future. So I'm a transition and leadership coach, and I help women who want to take the next step in their career or their lives. I also work with organisations who want to turn their employees into leaders to move the organisation forward. I've got over 20 years experience in human resources and coaching across multiple sectors. I've lived and worked in 6 different countries, and I've been in business for over 4 years. But enough about me. I want you to take a second and I want you to imagine, what does it feel like to live your ideal life? How do you feel? What does it look like for you? What dreams are coming true? Does it sound good? Are you feeling tingly with excitement? Reconnecting with your aspirations is the most important thing for you to focus on. Because women, mothers, we get lost. We get lost in family life. We get lost in all the demands. We get lost in the mental load. We lose sight of ourselves and what we want. Midlife, something happens. We start to wonder if there isn't more, if there isn't more we ought to be doing. It's the second act. It's real, it's normal, and it is the start of your journey. So why does it happen? Why do we feel lost? Because we are busy, because we get caught up in that busyness, we end up pivoting between 2 pillars, guilt and doubt. Doubt that we're good enough, doubt that we deserve more, doubt that we are worthy of more, and guilt that we want more, guilt that we're not showing up the way we want to, guilt that we ought to be serving better, helping others more. And so because we're pivoting between these 2 pillars, it's a negative mindset, and it becomes a trap and becomes a bit of a spiral. And to break that cycle, we actually have to make a conscious effort to shift our focus. So I want you to know it is a normal part of your journey. So it'll be showing up in you're snapping at your kids, you're getting sarcastic with your partner, you're feeling frustrated. That's how it will be showing up for you. And I want you to know that it's okay, because it is a normal part of the journey. So don't feel like you've done something wrong. Don't feel like you've missed something, that you've missed the boat. Just know your second act is waiting for you, and make the decision now to move forward. I hear you. How? Firstly, I want you to clarify what you want. That post-it party will definitely help you. So start by doing that at the end of this workshop, because clarifying what it is you want is the very start. And then I want you to dream, and dream big. Dream bigger. Nothing is out of reach for you. So what is it that you truly want? For me, I hold the questions in my mind and I go for a walk. And that's how I meditate on things. You might journal, and you could ask yourself that question: what do I really want? And journal about it. Do the post-it party. What are those prompts? What do they mean for you? Doodle. If you're an arty person, doodle it. What does it look like for you? What I really want you to do is dig deep, and don't judge yourself. As I said earlier, if you start judging yourself at this point, you're limiting your options. So don't judge yourself. Focus on dreaming big. The second step is to play to your strengths. I want you to make a list of everything you can do. organizing the home, managing your son's soccer team, juggling, prioritizing, managing the family social calendar, negotiating with your teenage daughter why she can't have that cell phone yet. List everything that you can do. Skills, experiences, things that you've done in a work capacity, technical aspects, things that you enjoy doing in your hobbies. List everything. And then when you've got a comprehensive list, I want you to go through and with a highlighter or a different color pen, start to identify what are the key strengths. 3 or 4 key strengths. If you like, you can ask others, ex-colleagues, family, friends, what do you see as my strengths? You might be really surprised what they share with you. And then when you know your 3 or 4 strengths, so you've got that really comprehensive list, and I've got a guide, there's a web address there, you can download the guide if you want a supporting document. But when you've got that list and you've identified those 3 or 4 strengths, this is when you ask yourself, which are really important to me? How do I want these to show up in my life? That's your purpose. And then ask yourself, how do I want to use these strengths to serve others? Your family, your workplace. Maybe it's a new career. Maybe it's starting a business. Maybe it's the hobbies. Maybe it's volunteering. Maybe it's doing further study. What is it? How do you want to use these strengths? How are they going to show up in your life? And how are you going to use them to serve others? And then step 3, take action. Take that dream. What is it you really want? Consider the strengths that you have and how you want to use them and how you want them to serve others. And then work out what that goal looks like. Write it down. And then identify what are the key actions you have to take to achieve that goal. Detail those actions. And then more importantly, put it in your diary. Allocate time. If you don't, it will never happen. You've got to put it in your diary. You've got to allocate time for yourself. This is your big dream. This is your most important project. It's got to go in your diary. If you need help and support from your family or from someone else, ask for it. Tell them what you're working on. Tell them what your goal is and what you need from them to help you achieve it. But put it in your diary and take action. And what I want you to do, as soon as you've got that goal clear, is work out what is the first step I can take. And for many people, it is working out where you're going to get those bites of time to work on your project. But what is the first step you can take? So, we all get lost at some point in life. We all need to then take a really mindful step to reconnect with our aspirations to lead our second act. How do we do it? By clarifying what you want, playing to your strengths, and taking action. You are your number one priority. Do this for yourself. So right now, I want you to write down on a piece of paper, doodle it wherever you need to do right now. What is one thing you're going to do as a result of this workshop? What is one action you're going to take? Start by doing the post-it party. 20 minutes of your time. And it's fun. I promise my clients love doing that activity. Whenever there's a key question they're stuck on, I'm like, do the post-it party. It works. Take action. It is the absolute key. And I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ed Rossman, author of A Guy's Guide to Throat Cancer, Do's and Don'ts for Recovery. Thank you, Julie, for allowing me to participate in the Purposeful You Summit. For a little bit of background, for those of you watching, I've been a broadcaster, a teacher, and a librarian since 1980. I love seeing the light bulbs go off over people's heads when I teach them something. As a broadcaster, besides making my stations money, I also created 2 specialty programs that helped the various communities where I was living. In Denver, at the classical music station where I worked, in 1989, I created a program called Curtains Rising. 1989 is when the wall fell down, and I knew that there was a lot of ignorance about what was behind the Iron Curtain. So I created a program talking about Eastern and Central Europe and playing music from there, which was the home of some of the best composers in classical music. See, I'm not a natural DJ. The program was successful, and in Cleveland, what I did was I was a business manager at an alternative station and helped them create the first website in 1995. And I had a program on the air there, believe it or not, talking about all the different things that the internet could do and would do eventually. People did not know about the internet too much in 1995, and I showed them how bands like Nine Inch Nails, REM, and Blues Travelers were using it. Creatively helping people learn is one of my passions in life that I've really enjoyed. In the libraries where I worked, I not only educated a lot of people about computers, but I was also an author. I wrote 2 books, one on library operations and the other on fundraising using my broadcasting experience. It helped a lot of librarians shore up their finances for their libraries. But it wasn't until my battle with cancer that I could say I finally unlocked my purpose. We had a very bad year in the Rossman family in 2017. My mom passed in January. My sister developed a brain tumor in September, and I developed throat cancer in November. For a while there, my sister and I had concurrent treatments going on in 2 different hospitals, and we would text each other back and forth. Unfortunately, Betty succumbed to her brain tumor in late December 2017. And I held off my treatments as long as I could, the big ones, the chemo and radiation, until we had her affairs settled. And then I began my treatments in January of 2018. During that time, my manager at the library told me about caringbridge.org. And I set up a page there called the Rossman Rally. Caringbridge.org is a site where people can set up pages, and the persons who are patients or their caregivers can create journal entries informing interested family and friends and colleagues who might not be on Facebook to be able to know what was going on as far as the sickness goes. It's very useful. It allowed me to be able to give posts and let people know what's going on. And it allowed me to read every time I posted something. A dozen people would respond to it, giving me encouragement and making me laugh. And it's just a great organization, free organization, caringbridge.org. Anyway, it's very useful. But when I began treatments, I told myself I was not going to let my friends and family continue to be scared that I was going to be the next one to die. So my posts, my journal entries, I tried to be upbeat, funny. I used music videos and my faith. And actually, they were there more for my family than they were for me. They became the framework for my book. The Grateful Dead sing in their song Box of Rain, "Such a long, long time to be gone, and a short time to be there." One of my favorite lyrics. I realized my type of cancer had a 50-50 chance of survival rate. And with all the recent family tragedy, I knew that my life on earth might be short. So I focused in on trying to protect and give back to others when I could. I tried to be cheerful to my chemo and radiation teams. So those poor folks have a heck of a job trying to make people well through sometimes painful treatments. And sometimes they're not always successful, but these teams, these medical people, they've learned to soldier on anyway. I was also tried to entertain my CaringBridge followers every time I wrote a post. And one time in my a music video I posted was AC/DC's Thunderstruck, which for video uses a military montage of battleships blowing off cannons, tanks shooting their cannons, jets shooting rockets. I posted the video and I put as an aside, I hope the radiation is doing this to my cancer cells. And one of my librarian friends, Audrey, said, "Oh, Ed, you're such a guy." Hence the title of my book, A Guy's Guide to Throat Cancer. I also saw a need for helping and encouraging my fellow chemo and radiation patients who were with me. And sometimes we had an enclosed treatment area. Sometimes we were just in a waiting room. And I realized we're all in God's waiting room. And I tried to be a good guy, tried to be chivalrous, give up my seat if there was a lot of family members there, keeping things light with humorous conversation, things like that. When I did return to work, I expressed my gratitude with food as best as I could to my fellow workers. And a lot of them came up to me and said, "Ed, we're so glad you're better, but we're going to miss those posts. They were funny and inspirational." But like when I posted the words that I was using currently, I told them that I was not going to use the word difficult anymore, just different. Eating is different. Eating is difficult. You can see the difference. Journal entries like that, my coworkers actually shared with some of their people and friends that were sick or injured, and their gratitude really had an impact on me about how my writing could impact people I don't even know who are going through tough times. Prior to my chemo and radiation treatments, I had been using my reference skills and the resources at the library to look things up about throat cancer, oropharyngeal cancer, actually, and the treatments and various other things about it. But all I could find was basically academic information. I knew there was a knowledge vacuum out there about throat cancer. And I knew that guys, from experience, guys aren't good readers, unless it's Lee Child or Stephen King. They are basically not the readers in the family. It's their caregiving women who are. And I also knew that guys can be the worst patients, very stoic, very independent. And knowing all that, I felt compelled to write a book that would help those frustrated caregivers by giving them a tool that their guys would actually enjoy reading. I was pretty weak when I returned to work. I had the right number of years in public service in and was at the right age. So I decided to retire and give my job over to somebody else who was younger on their way up in library land. One of the church readings at that time was Psalm 116. How will I give back to the Lord for all the good he's done for me? My answer was my book, A Guy's Guide to Throat Cancer. Gratitude and faith have been key elements in the work I've been doing since then. I still felt, even though I was writing the book, I still felt I had to help people out and had to get out from behind a computer. So I became a driver for the American Cancer Society, helping people get to their treatments who didn't have rides during the day. Their family and friends were at work, whatever. And that was very rewarding. Being in the trenches like that with people who were still in a life and death struggle really sharpened my resolve to create a book that was accessible, informative, and inspiring. Since publishing, I've been using social media to be able to spread the word more about the book and its messages of do's and don'ts about recovering. Both the Facebook and the Instagram accounts that I have use Guy's Guide to Throat Cancer as their handle. But the most viral post I've had has gone and had over 100,000 impressions, was shared 2,000 times. It was about cancer and a verse from Isaiah. If you don't stand firm in your faith, you won't stand at all. Isaiah chapter 7, verse 9. I update those 3 times a week with information and inspiration for fighting cancer or any debilitating sickness or injury. I also like face-to-face books or talks. And what I've done is a lot of talks in the Cleveland area to various church groups. Podcasting is going to be the next step. And this summit, Julie, Dan, and my fellow panelists, I've learned a lot from as far as best practices go in this field. And I'm hoping to emulate those someday. I had my own personal agony in the garden, and luckily was spared to continue on living in this beautiful garden, this life on earth. Gratitude, faith, finding joy in supporting others, seeing the light bulbs go off over people's heads. Those have all been key to unlocking my purpose. Remember, we're all in God's waiting room. And in that waiting room, try and do the best that you can, help people out. So when you go through that door, you'll know that you've gone doing some good things for the people who are still behind you. Looking forward to your questions, and I hope this summit helps you on your journey to maximize your purpose. Thanks again for attending the panel. And back to live action.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tatiana Cole. I am an income strategist and coach for solopreneurs who are ready to build out their different revenue streams to grow their business. And that's anything from ebooks, journals, planners, to events and workshops, and even retreats. When I think back to unlocking my purpose, that started, I would say, about 9 to 10 years ago. I don't know how I first found out about life coaching, but when I did, I don't know about you, but what I did, I started to research it. I'm looking up different websites, different programs. What do they offer? What are the different modalities they have? Is it all in person? Is it remote? How long would it take? How much does it cost? What can I do with a life coaching certification? What does this actually look like? And I would do that for hours and weeks. And then eventually it would move off to the wayside. I would forget all about it. I bookmark the links and I refer back to it at a later time. I would go back to it year after year. And I did that for 3 years. Because the thing is, I knew I was really good at giving people advice. I was really good at planning ahead and helping folks with that. That's why I work really well with my clients now, because I plan ahead and I'm really strategic about it, especially when it comes to their business. And I didn't know exactly what that was. What else can I do with that other than within my career, right? And life coaching seemed like the thing, but I still was so unsure about it. I will say that if you're someone who's wondering, like, how do you know what your purpose is to begin with? Start with asking your friends, your family, people in your community, folks that are close to you, like, what lights you up? What do they know about you? What really stands out? And, just start there, because there's going to be a time where it's all going to click later on for you that you're like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense because I did this in my life. I did this when I was younger. I did this in high school. I did this whenever. And it's all really going to come together. But, first try asking some other folks of what that might look like for you and really reflect on what lights you up. What can you talk about for hours? Like, you don't even have to get paid for it. Like, you just love talking about this thing, right? Start there. So I was doing that for 3 years, did all this research. I think I told maybe just 2 of my close friends about it. And it didn't really become real until I told my husband. I remember exactly where we were in the house. It was one evening. I knew I just needed to tell him, and my heart was racing. I was so nervous and anxious inside. Um, my speech was like crackly, like I was about to cry, kind of a thing. He's like, "What is going on? Like, what are you about to tell me?" Oh man, I had to take some deep breaths, and I told him, it was something, not only was something that I was interested in, but it was something that I felt like I was supposed to do, which is different than having a conversation about, some things that I enjoy. Hey, I think I want to pick up painting, some other type of hobby or something like that. But this was different, right? It's like, this is what I think I'm supposed to do. I know I've been building this career over here, but I think this is what I'm supposed to do. And it was less about being worried about what he thought, but I think it was more like that nervousness feeling. It was more about just saying it out loud and telling the most important person in my life about it. Like, listen, this is what I'm not only just interested in, but this is what I feel like I'm supposed to do. So I started there. So the next step would be to just start. You don't have to have it all figured out. Just start, explore, enjoy the journey. Um, about a month after I told my husband about it, he gifted me a life coaching certification, which is great because I probably would have taken another year before I really done it. After the 3 years of all that research, you think I would have made up my mind by now about what program I wanted. But yeah, he bought one for me, and the rest is history when it comes to that. So about 6 years ago, I started my business, and I was exploring, who did I want to work with? I know I was really good at goal setting, planning, being someone's biggest cheerleader. I can really take a lot of the mess and jumbled thoughts in their head and make it into some streamlined timeline and process that made sense, right? So I was working with college students, parents of college students, new moms, career women, and finally settled on entrepreneurs. And it all just kind of stood out to me. It became very clear. And when I made that decision, it was like, duh, which is very similar to how figuring out what your purpose is will come. You're going to have that aha moment where you're like, oh yeah, duh. Because for myself, I not only do I love going to different small businesses, brick and mortars, and supporting them, but I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My dad had a side business, a rug cleaning business. His dad owned a bodega in New York City. And then my grandmother used to sell skincare and makeup. My mom at one point used to sell her quilts. She sews and different like sewing projects that she did. It's like, duh, I was definitely brought up with entrepreneurship. So again, it made so much sense where a couple years ago, I decided to focus solely on entrepreneurs. And it's incredible because it's really all about how can I be a part of that journey to help grow the entrepreneur personally and within their business. And by doing that, they're going to be able to make that greater impact by the services and products that they provide. And it's really cool to kind of be a part of that journey and see that domino effect by me helping them moving forward in their business. It's a beautiful, greater impact that happens from that journey. So that's what that had looked like. And then I would say recently, I have a lot of experience with events and hosting events within my career, professionally, different regional professional conferences. And so I just started to do my own events. Like other than workshops and trainings, yeah, sure. Been there, done that for my business, but this was different. I was doing like a social networking event, a conference. I am the founder of Flourish. It is a live experience for women entrepreneurs who are ready to change their environment, to change their life. So this is a different experience where we're not really looking at the business aspects, but we're growing the entrepreneur as a purpose,
by changing their environment? What do they need to change, whether in their physical surroundings, or in their physical space, or within themselves, the environment within themselves, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically, so that they can grow and flourish in their business? Because again, once you grow in your business, once you go in your life, grow in your business, it's making that greater impact in who you serve with your services and products. So I would have never thought, if you told me 6 years ago when I started this business that Flourish was going to be another part of my business, I I would have been surprised. Like, what? I'm doing what now? I thought I was just goal setting and planning with people, you know? But now here I am. A whole nother leg of my business has begun, and I'm so very excited to see where this goes. I am so grateful already to the women that have been a part of these past events, and for the speakers that have shared vulnerably about their experiences, so we can all learn from each other and grow and know that we have this support system and community that we can lean on. Um, and so when it comes to unlocking your purpose and helping others, that's where the helping others comes into play. Yes, I'm helping folks, I'm helping my clients, and for the past 6 years, my coaching clients, as well as I'm helping the women who are attending these events, who are part of this Flourish community. Man, but it's such a ripple effect. It's so beautiful to see where these women are now, like the clients that I've worked with in the past, folks who have attended my events. I still see them on social, we still connect, and just seeing the impact they're making within their businesses, how they're growing, is incredible. It just proves and it shows me, yes, this is what I'm meant to be doing. And that unlocking, I feel like has really unlocked. It's another whole nother combination lock that I just unlocked. I had one initially 6 years ago on my locker. I unlocked it, put in the code, and I kind of figured it out. And now I'm on to like the next combination lock, because it's incredible. And let me tell you, you are going to be a happier person, more joyful, when you are living and breathing and working in your purpose, because it comes naturally to you. It lights you up. You're really good at it, and it's going to become very clear to you. So again, if you're unsure, reflect what lights you up, ask folks around you on what you're good at, and just start. You don't have to have it all figured out. Just start where you are and enjoy the ride and the journey that comes along with it. Because I never would have imagined 6 even to 10 years ago that this is what I would be doing right now. And I'm looking forward to what you have to bring this world. Because let me tell you, when we're all working in our purpose, we are making this greater impact, that hopefully will make the world a better place. Thank you.
You ever meet somebody and they say, I just felt called to start this business and everything just happened so easily. The money flowed, everything just came in. And that's how I knew this was my purpose. This was my calling. I just knew that it was right. And you're over here thinking like, wow, so I'm over here struggling. So maybe this isn't right. This isn't the right business or path for me. Any of you, right? Like the doubt kicks in really hard. And I just want to remind you that your journey is yours alone. So it's not going to look the same as other people's. And oftentimes there's going to be discouragement and doubt that kicks in. And hey, like we are all just going at our own pace and you haven't missed your purpose. Okay. So as long as you have a pulse, you have a purpose. I just want to remind you of that. And with that said, there are 3 obstacles that could get in the way of you fulfilling your purpose. And I want to dive into that. But just in case we've never met before, my name is Kai Alday. And I'm from Move to CEO. I am a business coach and strategist, and I help Christian women in business streamline their hustle and accelerate their path to profit. So, with that said, it's nice to meet you, but let's dive in for why you are really here. Now, I want to ask you, do any of these sound familiar to you? I got to record. I got to record this reel, but I can't say because I'm not looking camera ready. Or maybe it's, I know that I need to sell, but I still need to work on my pitch. It's just not there yet. Or maybe, I need to start, networking, but what if people come back to my website or my Instagram page and it doesn't look that amazing? You know what? I'll wait. Do any of these sound like you? Well, I am guilty. I've said all of these like 100 times, right? So whether you are shy or bold, one huge obstacle that keeps us from fulfilling our purpose is our pride. Now, you may not be a quote unquote prideful person, right? But even a lack of confidence is a reflection of our pride. Like it or not, we do care about how others see us, about how others think about us. If we didn't, we would just do the thing. Right. It would just be like, okay, no problem. If it doesn't work, I'll try it again. But we don't. We get so caught up. We start to have that self-doubt, the imposter syndrome. And a lot of that has to do with like, well, how will they think of me? Right. And that is really tied to our pride. And so the reality is that, our pride can distract us from our mission, from our purpose. And if you are someone who desires to live out a purpose-driven life, which most likely is you since you are here, then you probably feel called to help other people. So again, just a reminder that as long as you have a pulse, you have a purpose. So, you know what? Today, I want to challenge you when you're done watching this, go and record that reel, go to that networking event or schedule it or look for one. Start even though you don't feel ready. Right. That's my challenge to you. Now, no, we're not done. That was only the first obstacle, but I really want to challenge you with that first. Okay. Don't wait another minute. Okay. There are people on the other side of that sales call who needs you. There are other people who are going to be watching that reel that you might be the only person that can speak to them in the way that you can speak to them. So don't delay. Now, even as you're making the decision to just go and do it, there is another obstacle that everybody encounters, and that's problems. Everything up until this point has shaped you into exactly who you needed to be. It's shaped your character, it's refined your value system, it's made you better. So many of you have had it rough, whether it's been your upbringing, your choices, or just seasons of struggle, it has been shaping you for your purpose. And I know that that's not always, it doesn't feel great. Like, wow, I went through all this to fulfill this purpose in life. But the reality is that there's nobody like you, and the other reality is that it was never meant to break you. It was meant to make you indestructible. The question now becomes, will you allow it to break you or make you? Things are going to happen that discourage you, that distract you, or derail you. But these struggles are your strengthening. It isn't God teaching you a lesson like some Catholic school nun with a ruler in her hand. God's not over here giving struggles away like Oprah gives away cars, right? But He will make sure that nothing you've gone through is wasted. He will use it to shape you into a stronger vessel that's able to hold more blessing, that's able to hold more joy, more generosity, more wisdom. So your purpose, I want you to remember this, your purpose is greater than your problems. And those problems have forged you, making you uniquely gifted. There is no one else like you. So yeah, maybe your problems have held you back, or maybe it feels that way. Maybe they've delayed your timeline. But I don't want you to worry, because as long as you have a pulse, what is it? You have a purpose. Yes. Okay. So now here's the last obstacle that we're going to dive in today. We've covered pride, we've covered problems, and now this last one, for all of you type A personalities, you're going to love this word, is plan. Yep. having a plan can be an obstacle. I know that that sounds crazy. As a strategist, people probably think that's not what I would be saying, but I'm going to be very honest with you that sometimes our plan can get in the way of our purpose. Now, I like to have a plan. There is a timeline. We stick to it. This is how we know we're hitting our goals, right? That's how, we set up business strategies. There's always plans, timelines, KPIs that we're following. But here's the thing. Sometimes those delays, those unintended stops along the way, they're there to protect you and redirect you. I want to tell you this story. So once upon a time, I was driving with a friend and we had this plan. We had this plan to party all night, party until the break of dawn. So we were headed out. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. And we were headed out to the bars, which closed in like half an hour. So really, we were going to just try to get blind drunk in half an hour. I know this is a horrible story, but you'll see really where this goes, I promise. And, so that was our plan for the night. Granted, I was younger, right? Back in those days. And me and my friend, we were headed to the seedy little bar. And as we're going, we're on this one straightaway and you get to this light and we're like far back. And all of a sudden we're just talking and I look and I notice like, man, when did I stop stepping on the gas? Like we were just like rolling super slow. I was like, what am I doing? And I've never done this before or since. It just happened to be that I took my foot off the gas while we were talking. So I go to put my foot on the gas. And as soon as I'm about to do this, this car comes across where we should have been and plows across the line straight to where we would have been and into the wall that's on the other side. Now, had our plan stayed on track, I probably wouldn't be here right now having this conversation with you. Right? And so I'm not saying that to scare you, but really that was a blessing in disguise, right? Our plans being shaken up. First of all, we didn't end up going to the bar. It really made me think twice about the decisions I was making. There were a lot of things that stemmed from that because I did realize at that point, like, wow, like that was God's divine hand protecting us in that moment. And so sometimes, as I said, your plan, right? Like the delays in your plan, the side steps that you have to take is protecting you. It's holding you back until you are ready for that next thing. Now, so we've gone through the three things, right? We've gone through pride, we've gone through problems, and we've gone through plan. And these are three of the main obstacles that we often see getting in the way of people fulfilling their purpose. But here's what I really want to say to you is because a lot of you are probably still sitting here thinking, well, what is my purpose, right? Like, I came in here and I'm glad that I know what those three obstacles are, but I still don't know what my purpose is. So here's what I would tell you is that purpose, your purpose, anybody's purpose. It is not one destination on the map. It is the journey of your life. Right. And so let me just share a quick story with you. When I became an entrepreneur, I mean, did not know what I was doing. I started off in business doing leadership and then I moved to this other thing and then I moved and it was just constantly a pivot. And because of those pivots, it took me longer. But because of those pivots, I also learned a lot, right? That I now share with other entrepreneurs. I learned a lot of things of what not to do. And then I also learned a lot of what actually works, right? But had I stuck to a plan, had I been discouraged, had I forgotten what my purpose was, which is to help other people, right? To serve other people, had I not had my eyes on that prize of serving others, I would have gotten distracted and probably gone back to get a job. And so what I started off with has led me to where I am now, which is why I say your purpose is not a straight line. It is your entire life. Our purpose, all of our purpose, is to serve others. It is to be a light in the dark. Whether that's your family, whether that's your children, whether that's your employees, your customers, the stranger in line. Like, what if we thought about our purpose as simply us serving others, making their day better, doing something that nobody else can do and bringing that happy into their life, serving them in a way that nobody else can be served. How would we make decisions? How would we pivot? And so just a reminder that your purpose is bigger than you. And it's not just about you. It isn't your vocation. It isn't some great event in your life. And your purpose is bigger than your pride. It is bigger than your problems, and it is bigger than your plans. It may look different from somebody else's. It might be easier for them versus you, but it's like playing connect the dots. It may not make sense to you right now, but every pivot, every turn, everything you do, you're connecting a dot to another dot to another dot until that one day it all becomes so clear that it creates this picture. And then you understand, that's what it was. Like God always had a plan for you. And as long as you have a pulse again, you have a purpose. So don't give up. It doesn't matter if you're 20, if you're 89, you still have a purpose. And you can pick it up right now and keep walking with it. So I just want to encourage you all, don't give up. Don't feel discouraged because maybe it seems like it's been easier for other people. Your whole life is this beautiful symphony that is coming together for you. So keep on participating, keep on going. Do not give up. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chandra Gore, and I'm so glad that you have chosen to join us for the Purposeful You Summit. So my topic is on to unlocking your purpose and helping others. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about exactly the ways that you need to understand so that you can walk in your truth and also find your purpose. So the first thing that I would actually tell anyone to do is to do some self-reflection. So this is to take the time to look at your passions, your interests, your values, and then identify the activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. Then you ask yourself, and then you look at it and say, what am I naturally good at? And what makes me feel the most at peace or the most happy? And then I would go with that. And then I would expand on that self-reflection and give myself 3 things that I would like to accomplish. So if you say you like to plant or you're good at gardening, what are the 3 top things you like to grow? Take it, and then from there, develop how you want to cultivate each one of those plants. So look at your when you do your self-reflection, look at each one of those things as a plant you would like to cultivate and grow. And then the next thing most definitely to do is to set those goals that you want to achieve. Be sure to look at how they align with your work, your lifestyle, and things of that nature before you set that goal, because every now and then, sometimes the goals are unattainable and you need to redo you want to redo what you're committing to so that you can achieve them. So make sure that you're setting real attainable goals, realistic goals, and be very, very sure of those goals. Make sure that you're not holding yourself to an unattainable or just out of the reach goal that makes no sense, that you would never be able to achieve within a short or realistic time frame. The next thing most definitely is to listen and empathize with yourself. Listen to your gut, your intuition, and then use that to find where you would like to go. And, sometimes you have to redirect and, correct yourself so that you can go into the path that you want. And then when you're doing those things, in between all that, you'll have people watching or you'll be sharing your story. That's another way of you be helping others. So also the next thing, definitely include a part where you volunteer and you work with others. Like find a community service that aligns with what your purpose is and pour into that. That way, when you are walking in your purpose, you will have an extra meaning to it. It will have an extra fulfillment because you're giving back and you're showing others, or you're being supportive of others. It also provides you with that sense of purpose and that sturdy foundation that you need to keep on going. These things, developing these skills that are needed, developing your goals, your aspirations, and things like that are very, very important. So be a lifelong learner. Always strive to achieve or to learn more about the three things or the couple of things or the five things that you have listed that you want for your purpose, so that you are going about it the right way and that you're doing it the way that you feel that it should be done, or that you feel so happy when you lay your head down at night that you accomplish something. And then also your network is your net worth. So make sure that you have a supportive team or supportive group around you, because oftentimes without that peripheral support, we feel alone, we feel disenchanted, we feel disengaged, we feel disconnected. So make sure that you are connected with like-minded individuals that, one, see your purpose, two, understand your purpose, and three, have positive impact on you walking in your purpose. Be mindful of yes people. Be mindful of those who are not able to see and assist you with correcting yourself or helping you to, overcome something that you may feel like you're stumbling with. Make sure they're honest and they're straightforward, and that they are able to talk to you and show you or to advise you on things that you may miss in the grand scheme of things where you're working on stuff. So make sure your network is supportive in a great way and not just a yes. And I always say this: be mindful of your actions. Your choices and your decisions have an impact on those around you. So make sure you are walking in with integrity, you're working ethically, and you're being responsible. And I understand, like, social media is a space where people want to share their ideas and their opinions and things like that. But be mindful of the words that you're using, because those will greatly impact others. It'll also make it one little misunderstood um word usage can have so much the ripple effect. So make sure you're mindful of those things. Make sure you are always not double checking or being self-conscious, but be mindful of how you use your words. Be intentional. Be very intentional on the words that you use, the actions that you're showing, so that your purpose is not muddled by a mistake or negativity. And well, second to last is to use your talents. So if you're like we started off by saying you like to cultivate and grow plants, use that talent to help others, teach others who are interested in it. That will also help you to connect with your giving back, and it'll also help you to connect with those who need your words of advice, your guidance, and things like that, because your talent is what makes you you. Your talent is what makes your purpose even greater. So make sure you're using that to your advantage. You're using that to showcase that side of you. You're using that to help others to walk in your purpose, to be uniquely you. And last but not least, always practice kindness and generosity. So this is the thing. Social media and all of these access to the internet has kind of skewed kindness and generosity to something that needs to be recorded. It needs to be showcased. That's not something that should be on the list of things to videotape yourself or show yourself being compassionate or, doing acts of kindness. Be genuinely good to people and others will be good to you. I have to say that at the end of this, your purpose is tied into what you give back and what you choose to present to the world. So make sure when you're walking in your purpose, you're walking in it with a sense of compassion, empathy, and you're positive when you speak. Do not learn to speak life and don't. And if you have to correct someone be mindful of the words that you're using so that in a way it will help you to, one, understand your purpose is there to help to grow others or to impact their lives in a positive way. But two, it will make you feel good also in the inside because one, you never know what someone is going through. So making sure when you're unlocking your purpose, you're helping others at the same time. I hope that some of these tips are able to help you to get to where you need to be and that you can walk in your purpose and discover the positive impact that you can have on others just by being genuinely you.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, I invite you today to join me on a journey that will transform your approach to manage challenges and unlock your potential. We're going to unveil the power of mindful living. Welcome to Embrace the Present, Unleashing Your Entrepreneurial Potential Through Mindful Living. It all starts with understanding your limitations. I want to share my journey. I started my journey 20 years ago when I stepped into a role as an executive assistant. But little did I know that this path would lead me to a profound realization that working harder doesn't always equal success. The key is to work smarter. I also noticed that people that are striving for success tend to suffer or struggle with executive dysfunction. Now, what is executive dysfunction? Well, some examples of executive dysfunction include focusing too much on one thing, struggling to switch between tasks, problems with impulse control, procrastination, difficulty starting or finishing tasks, being easily distracted, and daydreaming. So there are ways to be mindful of what we are doing in our lives that are hindering us. We'll start with defining our purpose. So our purpose is what drives us. We all want to find meaning in life. Life is too short. We want to get there faster and efficiently, but we don't want to lose any quality of life. How do we discover what our individual purpose is? So let's embrace the present, understand the challenges, and cultivate authenticity. How I define my purpose is reflection. I looked within myself. I asked myself many questions. Why am I doing this? Who is this for? What is it doing for me? How is it making me feel? Where do I want to go with this? All these questions. I observed people that I wanted to be like. I looked at people that I thought were successful, and I asked them, how or what did you do to get to where you are? And I listened. I listened to the advice that they gave because they have already traveled down the path that I want to go down, but they struggled. So I became innovative. If they struggled in this area, what can I do to not struggle in that same area? When I come up to an obstacle that they faced, what can I do to overcome that challenge? Is it going to be a weakness? Is it going to be a threat? Or is it going to be an opportunity for me to grow and develop and create something new? So what can you do to define your purpose? With reflection, you can look at it as shadow work. Shadow work is the internal observation of your past trauma. Everyone has trauma. And how do you grow from it? Being able to acknowledge the negative and let it go gives room for growth. Think of a plant. You see dead leaves on a plant. You pull the dead leaves from the plant so the plant can continue to grow. That is what shadow work is. You're removing the old that doesn't serve you, that is limiting you, that is stifling your growth. My boring. So you start by asking the right questions. You ask, what brings you joy? Why? How does it make you feel? And you continue to follow that joy, and you'll develop your purpose. Observe your interactions and your connections. Be mindful of who you give your energy to. Be mindful of who you have around you. Are they negative? Constantly saying no? No, you can't do this. No, that's not a good idea. No, you shouldn't think that way. Or do you surround yourself with people who question, who ask, why did you do something? Is there a reason why something happened in your life? And to help you dig deeper, to unlock the potential that you have already. Become innovative, creative. You see a need, you feel the need. You create ideas into reality. Imagine being effortlessly able to streamline your processes, boost your income, and open yourself up to new horizons, to new opportunities, to constantly be growing because you were planted in the right spot at the right time. And this isn't some lofty dream. As CEO and founder of Mariposa Sources, I have helped countless entrepreneurs become organized, develop their goals, and follow their passion. So, how does defining your purpose tie into embracing the present? Well, it's not just about embracing the present through mindful living. It's about seizing the opportunities that exist right now. Don't wait for things to be perfect. Don't wait for the right time. Jump in and make it the right time. Learn from every experience that you have, every interaction that you have, and your purpose will develop. You will become authentic to yourself, true to yourself, and your audience will resonate with you. Remember, asking the right questions, being present and networking, and creating solutions are huge for growth. When you ask the questions of who, what, where, why, how, when, for everything in your life, and you're able to answer those questions, that is amazing knowledge and a foundation for your purpose. Because if you ask a question of why am I doing this, and you don't like the answer, you don't have to do it. You don't. If it's not going to give you the results that you want, then there's no reason for you to continue on that path. You can create a detour to another path. It's all about mindful living. And when we discover our purpose, we help others along the way. So let's embark on this journey of self-discovery and learning our purpose to unlock our potential. And at Mariposa Sources, we're just not a coaching agency. We're your partners in progress. And keep in mind that slow progress is still progress. Even if you feel like you have gone back 2 steps and forward 1, and then backwards 3 steps, that is still progress because you are still trying and you are learning. Give yourself the grace that you would give a client. Give yourself the grace that you would give a child who is just learning. So the approach that I have created with Mariposa Sources is fresh and easy and tailored to your unique needs. We offer personalized coaching, different perspectives, and a friendly environment that guides you towards authenticity and success. The path
to unlocking your potential lies in embracing the present moment. And through mindful living, you can transform your challenges into triumph and authenticity to success. Mariposa Sources can be your compass on this journey, guiding you towards a life of ease, achievement, and purpose. Thank you so much for your time.
Speakers from Panel 7 did not disappoint. Neither did any of the other speakers. If you haven't tuned in to all the other videos, come join the party and the fun. We have an array of incredible individuals, but I am so grateful for Emily, Ed, Tatiana, Kay, Chandra, and Vanessa for sharing with us how to unlock our purpose and help others. So until again, our next panel, I invite you to leave your comments here, subscribe to the channel, and let us know how this summit is impacting you.